Okay, 2019 Fall Benchmark, 8th grade Social Studies. Number 1, question mark, proposed by 2/3 of the House and Senate, ratified by 3/4 of state legislatures. Which of the following is the best title for the information above? Constitutional amendment process, procedures for impeaching the president, procedures for appointing federal judges, president's role in the legislative process. Number 2, in 2016, Donald Trump was chosen as the Republican candidate for president. He ran against the Democratic candidate Hillary Clinton. Donald Trump was elected president. What principle of government gives the American people the right to elect their leadership every 4 years? Popular sovereignty, separation of powers, checks and balances, federalism. Number 3, why would slave states be in favor of counting slaves as part of their total population? To be required to pay less taxes, to have more representation in the legislative branch, to gain more military presence in their area, to charge lower prices for their goods. Number 4, New Jersey Plan, Virginia Plan. Which best completes the question mark? 3/5 Compromise, Articles of Confederation, Northwest Ordinance, Great Compromise. Number 5, the Northwest Ordinance was an act that provided rules for governing Northwest Territory and paved the way for admission of new states to the Union, ratification of the U.S. Constitution, expansion of slavery to northern states, industrialization of the northern U.S. Number 6, which of the following was eventually added to the Constitution in order to appease the Anti-Federalists and gain their approval? A law to ban slavery, part of the Magna Carta, a Bill of Rights, the 3/5 Compromise. Number 7, Congress has the power to collect taxes. President has the power to make treaties. Principle of checks and balances incorporated. The bold list above is in response to issues that arose under the 3/5 Compromise, Declaration of Independence, Articles of Confederation, Magna Carta. Number 8, judge or other officials could file false charges, unable to defend self. Long imprisonment, people tortured and even executed in secret trials. By requiring a jury to be involved in a trial, serious and sometimes fatal decisions are taken out of the hands of a few judges or officials and are put in the hands of a group of average citizens who look over the evidence. The information contained in the graphic organizer above best supports the creation of which constitutional amendment? First Amendment, Third, Fourth, Sixth. Number 9, protesting an issue facing the nation using violence. Requiring membership to a particular religious denomination. Publishing false and defamatory materials in a newspaper. The information contained in the box above demonstrates limits placed on which constitutional amendment? First, Fourth, Eighth, 10th. Number 10, how did the Articles of Confederation ensure that state governments would have more power over the national government? States would partner with local native tribes to defend their land. Congress needed the approval of 9 states to pass new laws. Executive actions required judicial approval. The president advised state leaders regarding foreign trade. Number 11, I had rather be a free citizen of the small Republic of Virginia than oppressed subject of the great American empire. Why would an anti-federalist have supported the above statement? Anti-federalists believed in a strong central government. Anti-federalists wanted a great American empire. Anti-federalists believed in a strong state government. Anti-federalists were loyal to the King of England. Number 12, the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution are reserved to the states respectively. 10th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. The ideas outlined in the amendment above best reflect which principle of government? Popular sovereignty, republicanism, judicial review, federalism. Number 13, nothing is more certain than the necessity of government, that whenever and however it is instituted, the people must cede to it some of their natural rights. It is well worthy of consideration, therefore, to all general purposes, be one nation under one federal government. Federalist number 2. What idea is best demonstrated above? The power of the federal government belongs to the states. The United States should have a strong central government. The United States should continue to operate as a confederacy. The people of the United States do not need their natural rights protected. Number 14. Which of the following best represents a protection guaranteed under the First Amendment? Probable cause needed to obtain a search warrant. Excessive bail and fines cannot be imposed. Right to trial by jury in civil cases. Freedom of choice regarding religious memberships. Number 15. For depriving us in many cases of the benefits of trial by jury. For quartering large bodies of armed troops among us. Transporting us beyond the seas to be tried for pretended offenses. Declaration of Independence. How did the Founding Fathers address these colonial grievances and protect the rights of American citizens? Article 3 of the Constitution, which establishes the court system. They are listed in the Declaration of Independence. The problems are corrected in the Bill of Rights. Article 1 of the Constitution, which allows Congress to tax. Number 16. How does the Constitution ensure that one branch of government will not be more powerful than the other two? Each branch has the power to block actions of the other branches. Each person must follow the rules of law. Certain powers are divided between the state and national governments. American voters can elect new representatives. Number 17. Fifth Amendment. Protection from double jeopardy. No self-incrimination. Question. Which of the following best completes the graphic organizer? Right to trial by jury. Due process of law. No cruel and unusual punishment. No unreasonable search and seizure. Number 18. The Federalist Papers were intended to inform Americans of the suffrage movement, persuade Americans to ratify the U.S. Constitution, avoid civil uprisings like Shays' Rebellion, outline the process for electing representatives. Number 19. Person A argued Constitution allowed the Congress to make laws regarding civil cases, including the right to trial by jury, if it wanted to, though it didn't require Congress to do so. Person B argued wanted the right to trial by jury written in stone, so to speak, as a guaranteed right under the new Constitution. Person A and B can best be classified as Federalist and Anti-Federalist, arguing over the concept of the structure of the judicial branch. Northern and Southern arguing over the concepts of states' rights, including the Ninth Amendment. Northerner and Southerner arguing over ideas eventually included in the First Amendment. Federalists and Anti-Federalists arguing over ideas eventually including in the Seventh Amendment. Number 20. Which of the following scenarios best shows a violation of the Eighth Amendment? The Galt brothers were accused of vandalizing their school. The boys were found guilty and received a punishment of 20 hours community service. Gerald Galt was caught cheating on his U.S. history test. He was given a 0 on the test and had to serve 2 one-hour detentions. The Galt brothers were accused of online bullying. They were accused of harassment and required to attend 4 counseling sessions. Ronald Galt was caught shoplifting a book from his school's book fair. He was arrested and punished with 8 years in a juvenile detention center. Number 21. Completing a national census from being an informed voter, serving on a jury. The bulleted actions above are identified as instances of civil disobedience, requirements of U.S. citizens once they turn 16, examples of responsible citizenship, unalienable rights granted to all humans. Number 22. During the Revolutionary War era, the British recognized that colonists would use their weapons to defend themselves, so the British made efforts to confiscate as many weapons as they could without obtaining a writs of assistance. Which constitutional amendment would have protected colonists against the British? The Second Amendment, 4th, 6th, 10th. Number 23. Does any man suppose that one general national government can exist in so extensive a country as this? I hope that a government may be framed which may suit us. The question then will be whether a consolidated government can preserve the freedom and secure the rights of the people. George Mason, 1788. Based on the excerpt above, the author believed in the importance of protecting individual liberties. A chief executive was needed to govern effectively. Each state was capable of governing itself. Altering the Articles of Confederation was unnecessary. Number 24. Gained rights to self-government, protected civil liberties, outlawed slavery, provided for public education. The above are important provisions outlined in which historical document? Virginia Plan, Declaration of Independence, New Jersey Plan, Northwest Ordinance. Number 25. The First Amendment guarantees religious freedom by allowing Americans to pray in public places, punishing those who do not follow a specific religious belief, promoting a specific religious required by all to follow, preventing gatherings at places of worship. Number 26. For the well-governing of this province and territories, there shall be an assembly yearly, chosen by the freemen thereof, to consist of 4 persons out of each county. William Penn, Pennsylvania Charter of Privileges, 1701. Which feature of colonial self-government does this charter establish? Direct democracy, an elected legislature, separation of powers, checks and balances. Number 27. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. 10th Amendment, U.S. Constitution. Which principle of U.S. government is most clearly reflected in the amendment above? Checks and balances, federalism, separation of powers, due process. Number 28. How did geography influence the early economic development of New York, Boston, and Charleston? Long coastlines offered abundant natural resources. Proximity to flooding rivers limited development. Natural harbors provided access to markets. Extreme climates limited productive activity. Number 29. Patrick Henry opposed ratifying the U.S. Constitution because he believed that under it, the states would surrender too much power to the federal government. Alliances could not be formed with other countries. The courts would not be able to hold government officials accountable. Individuals would exercise too much power over the federal government. Number 30. Which statement best explains the significance of the Mayflower Compact? It limited the power of future colonial governments. It weakened the influence of religion in government. It established a form of self-government based on a social contract. It guaranteed liberties for colonists through local government. Number 31, Constitutional Convention Puzzle. Virginia Plan, ? New Jersey Plan. Which of the following should replace the question mark in this diagram? Direct democracy, Great Compromise, checks and balances, Missouri Compromise. Number 32, when citizens report for jury duty, they are helping uphold a constitutional right guaranteed by the First Amendment, Second Amendment, Sixth Amendment, Ninth Amendment. Number 33, due process of law, guarantee of a speedy trial, freedom from unreasonable search and seizure, ? Which right best completes the diagram? The right to bear arms, freedom to speak without fear of punishment, protection from cruel and unusual punishment, freedom of the press to report on court proceedings. Number 34, intolerable acts imposed. First Continental Congress convened. Thomas Paine's Common Sense published. All the events listed above occurred during the era of westward expansion, the era of good feelings, the Revolutionary era, the Jacksonian era. Number 35, at the end of the Revolutionary War, states were eager to expand into newly available territory. The states of New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Virginia argued over competing claims to land west of the Appalachian Mountains. This conflict was addressed by the Missouri Compromise, Wilmot Proviso, Northwest Ordinance, Kansas-Nebraska Act. Number 36, Berwyn, Pennsylvania. A new mosque recently opened in this suburb of Philadelphia. The leaders did not seek publicity for the happy occasion, only continued peace with their neighbors, a Jewish synagogue next door and Baptist church across the street. Kathy Matheson, Associated Press, September 10, 2010. This event best demonstrates which feature of the American way of life. The First Amendment guarantees personal freedoms. The Declaration of Independence asserts the principle of popular sovereignty. The U.S. Constitution established a structure of the federal government. The Fifth Amendment protects the rights of the accused. Number 37, how do we finance a war? Who has the power to negotiate treaties? What prevents the executive from becoming too powerful? Which group was responsible for answering these questions? Settlers creating the Mayflower Compact, delegates writing the Articles of Confederation, representatives drafting the Fundamental Orders of Connecticut, colonists negotiating the Albany Plan of Union. Number 38, George Mason refused to sign the Constitution and opposed its ratification because he believed that it did not adequately protect individuals from potential government abuse, did not give the executive branch enough power to oversee the military, prevented the legislative branch from effectively governing the states, prevented the judicial branch from using judicial review to overturn acts of legislature. Number 39, Catholics immigrated to the Maryland colony in the 17th century primarily to profit from natural resources, avoid crop failures and famine, produce cash crops to pay off debts, escape persecution. Number 40. In 1787, the United States was at a crossroads. Farmers in western Massachusetts had rebelled the year before over property taxes. The state struggled to end the rebellion. Events such as this one contributed to the decision to sign the Treaty of Paris, repeal the Intolerable Acts, declare an embargo on imported goods, or restructure the federal government. Number 41, the Puritans founded the Massachusetts Bay Colony to escape persecution. Roger Williams was banished from the Massachusetts Bay Colony and formed a new colony that did not have a state church. Anne Hutchinson was expelled from the Massachusetts Bay Colony for dissenting against church doctrine. The diagram describes events in colonial America that are related to the eventual adoption of the U.S. Constitution, the formation of a government controlled by religious officials, the creation of a national system of checks and balances, the establishment of the principle of religious freedom. Number 42. British colonists objected to the Proclamation of 1763 because they feared it would provoke attacks from American Indians, did not want to share control of the fur trade with France, resented the limits it imposed on westward expansion, wanted to be able to trade freely with foreign nations. Number 43, Congress passes a bill. The president vetoes the bill. Congress overrides the presidential veto. Which principle of U.S. government is illustrated in the sequence shown above? Judicial review, checks and balances, popular sovereignty, federalism. Number 44. In 1787, Congress awarded John Paul Jones the Congressional Gold Medal in honor of his valor and brilliant services during the Revolutionary War. Which accomplishment was Congress recognizing? Leading the evacuation of Washington, D.C. during the British invasion? Preparing the strategy for the American victory at Yorktown? Persuading France to provide military assistance to the Continental Army? Commanding a victory at sea against the British Navy? Number 45, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Declaration of Independence, 1776. This excerpt refers to the rights that people earn by demonstrating loyalty to their government, receive by becoming citizens of a country, have as a result of being human, are granted after enlistment in the military. Number 46, distance from Great Britain, need for lawmaking structure, traditional rights of Englishmen, American colonist, ? Which of the following best replaces the question mark in the diagram above? Created a general council to manage the colonies, experienced strict control by Parliament, established their own representative institutions, appointed governors who reported to the king.